everyone, and welcome to 6-Pack of MTG. It's been a really long time since I've done this. I had to step away from my channel for a while due to other things going on in my life, but I am back. I want to reboot this channel, and today I'm going to start with a 6-Pack of MTG, and we are doing Dominaria today. Now, unfortunately, due to a technical difficulty, the first part of this video got lost. So normally what I do on this segment is I open up 6 packs of a sealed set, and we go through, sort it out, and build a deck. So the deck opening portion of this video unfortunately got lost. So we'll just I'll just show you what was in the packs, what the card pool is, and talk about it a little bit, and then we will build a deck from there. And the next episode, hopefully things go a little bit better. All right, so I've taken the time to sort out the card pool that I opened from 6 packs of Dominaria. And I only got one land, and it's a dual land, the black and white dual land. So it might potentially allow me to do a little bit of splashing in this pool. And then next we'll go into artifacts here real quick. I got a Jousting Lance. This actually seems pretty good. Now, I don't know a lot about this set. This is actually the first cards I've ever even opened or touched from Dominaria so far. I just haven't had the opportunity to draft with it or really play with it at all, so I know almost nothing about it. But this seems pretty good. Giving a creature +2/+0 and first strike seems pretty strong to me in a limited environment, so I'll probably play with this card. And I think Urza's Tome is probably playable. It's some extra card draw. Other than that, I have an Aesthir Glider, which will probably fit into anything I build because, hey, it's a 2/1 flyer, right? And then I have this guy who I'm not sure about. 7/7 trample for 4, but he comes into play tapped, and he has weird conditions to untap him. So I don't know if this is a playable card or not. And then I have a Navigator's Compass, which allows me a little bit of clunky fixing. So that might be something that may or may not make the deck, depending on how many colors we get into. Obviously, I want to try and stay in 2 colors anytime you do a sealed build. The fewest colors you can play with, the better, right? And then there's Damping Fear, which I think in this environment, in a sealed environment, is unplayable. But I may be wrong, but I don't see it being something I play with. All right, so then I have everything sorted out by color. And what I've done is kind of rank these from what I think is the weakest color in this pool to the strongest color in this pool. And in this particular card pool, I ranked black at the bottom for a couple of reasons. Number one, I have only one removal spell in black, and it's this one, which, don't get me wrong, is not a bad spell, but it's the only one. Oh, and I have Fungal Infection, which I guess is a little bit of removal, and you get a Sapperling, but I don't see a big payoff there. It's not a big enough card for me to want to play with. But Vicious Offering is actually splashable. Other than that, I have several big bomb cards, but they're not really... I mean, it takes like 6 and 7 mana to get into these things, and they don't really do that much. They're just big bodies, which, I mean, in a limited environment, big bodies are never a bad thing, right? 5/5 with Death Touch, 9/3, 5/4. But I don't think I have the mana ramping to get into this stuff. And other than that, it's pretty much just garbage. I don't want to say garbage, but it's just not stuff I want to play with. So I put black. So I'll be putting black aside for this particular build, I believe. Then I felt the next weakest color for this card pool was red. When you're looking at red, obviously you want burn and removal and aggressive things, and this card pool only has 2 of those types of spells. I have Fire Intervention, which targets only creatures, so I don't like that as much, and it's at sorcery speed. And then I have Wizard's Lightning, which is a clumsy fireball. If you're running some wizards, I guess you can get there. The Flame of Keld, I think this is more of a build around than anything else, and I just don't have the support for that in this pool. Other than that, I just have a bunch of so-so creatures, nothing really big and bomby, and then the rest of this is just kind of not even fillers, barely playable, a lot of it. So I'm going to set red aside. Looking through this card pool, my first impression of this set, having not really seen much of it before, is that it's very... the power level is low. And maybe it's just because I haven't seen any of the big splashy pieces that would make me think otherwise. But I think overall they've toned down the power level of this set compared to Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, obviously Kaladesh, and those blocks. I think they started raking the power back a little bit with Exelon, and they've bringed it back even a little bit more with this set. And that's okay, because those other sets were getting way too powerful. They were getting way too crazy. All right, so next we have green. Green has a little bit of mana fixing, which is what green should be doing, and a little bit of ramp, and a few other little spells here. Create some saplings. I've got Grun, so this guy looks to be kind of a bomb. So I got a few things. This guy, he's a little bit of a bomb too, but he requires a heavy devotion to green. So I don't know if he's going to be playable or not, unless his green mix is one of my primary colors. Other than that, I just have some things that green does, some middle of the road creatures, some combat tricks, and a few other little sideboardy things. So, I mean, green isn't ultra impressive to me either in this card pool. So I think I'm probably going to be playing blue-white, just looking at it over. My next most powerful color in this pool seems to be blue. I've got a nice counter spell here. Time of Ice seems to be a pretty good card, just looking it over. That's a good way to just tap things down, dirtle up the board. Blink of an Eye is a nice bounce spell. I got this nice flyer. I got a Hexproofer. I've got these Journey Mages, which reminds me of Mana War, only a little bit clunkier. They ask you to do a little bit more, but you can Mana War's really good. I think these guys will be good too. And then I've got a couple of fairly aggressive creatures. I got two of these Sages, which I might try and put one in the deck just to... We'll see what happens. And then the rest of it is just kind of filler-ish. But I think there's enough there to go into a deck. I think by far my strongest color is white for this pool. I got two really good removal spells here, and I can couple those with the ones that are in blue, I think, and have a decent removal package, and maybe even splash that black one because I do have the Isolated Chapel in the mix. Other than that, I got a nice flyer that lets me get guys back from my graveyard. So I think I'll probably be building more of an aggressive deck with this pool. I got a couple more nice flyers here, and the Trapper, and then a nice mix of 2-drop creatures that'll just be able to get in really quick. I also got this Archaeologist, which lets me get a creature back from my graveyard, or an artifact back from my graveyard. So I might couple that with one of the Sages of Latnam and be able to cycle an artifact around for some additional card draw maybe. And then the rest of this is just kind of filler. And then I have a multicolor card in the mix which actually fits the white and blue. So I'd probably be playing with this. It's flash and flying and 3/3. So that's pretty good in a limited environment. So that's the card pool. So I'm going to go tinker around with this and build a deck. And when I come back, I'll share with you what I built and what my thoughts are on it. Okay, so as I anticipated, this thing did turn out to be white and blue. And it's actually pretty aggressive, which I also kind of saw that coming as well. I did cut the black and I cut the red, and so I picked out 24 cards that I would put in this deck, and then rounded out with 8 plains and 8 islands. So we'll go through this a little bit and talk a little bit about why I chose what I chose and cut what I cut. So first things first, I do want to talk about green a little bit. Green had a lot more potential than I thought. It's got 3 really good cards here at the top. And then, like I said, it had a little bit of ramp with the Elfheim Druid and the Grow from the Ashes, and it had a fair piece of removal with the Ancient Animus. And then it had a nice, actually, little sapling package. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, it's a playable, but I think overall the white and blue mix is just better. So I went ahead and cut green as well. And what I ran in blue then is I ran the Syncopate, which is a nice counter spell, which the soonest I would ever play that would be turn 2. So I should probably put it in my 2-drops at the very lowest, but it'll probably get played a little later than that. But what I really wound up with was a 2-drop stack that's a mile long with a lot of really good stuff. The Tome, the Lance, 2 pieces of really good, decent removal and board control, and then just a pile of really efficient early creatures. So I'm hoping to just get an early rush with a deck like this. Now some of these do require historic spells to get some more bang for their buck, like the Relic Runner wants you to play a historic spell, and there's a bird up here somewhere. I don't know where it is now, but anyway, oh, the Disciple, I think. Yeah, the Serra Disciple is looking for historic spells. So historic is an artifact, an enchantment, or a legendary creature Those are historic spells, and this deck has 7 of them. So I think that's enough to make the payoff worth it a little bit, to try and get a little more out of these. Same thing with the Archer. I think this could be very good for just getting things out of my way so I can just keep attacking. The Courser lets another attacker gain flying. The Glider, of course, is a flyer, so lots of evasion. So I think I'll be okay with this. This Teshar, the Ancestor's Apostle here, actually lets you get another card out of your graveyard, another creature, so that's good. More flying here with the Sentry. The Time of Ice, like I said before, this is just going to get things out of your way so you can just keep attacking. Raff, the Ship's Mage, is just a nice flashy 3/3 flyer with a little bit of upside. And I think this guy actually might be playable at my top end. He's a nice big finisher for very low mana cost, and I think that I'll be able to get there. Like I said, I have 7 historic spells in here, so I think I can get there with him. I know he's not going to swing every turn, but I think I can get him there. Then at the very top end, I have some 5-drops. These Journey Mages actually have the potential to be 4-drops if there are other wizards on the table. But like I said, they remind me so much of Mana War, and I love playing with Mana War. It's a super great mechanic to have on a creature, because you get a body and you get rid of one of your opponent's bodies. And again, with this deck, I'm just looking to get in quick with a lot of damage early and fast, and hopefully I can just keep my opponent's side of the board clear and just keep swinging with my guys. And then I've got a nice flyer here with a little bit of Scry and a Blessed Light, which is a really nice piece of removal. So I think this card mix actually turned out better than I anticipated. I didn't really see much initially, but as I was looking things over and piecing it together, I do think that in a sealed, limited environment, this would actually be a fairly decent deck to play with. So some of the things that are in white and blue that I did not put in, I didn't put in the Sages because the support for them really just isn't there. And the rest of this I find to just be more filler. I didn't really have the support for this guy. My creatures all have powers or toughnesses of 2 or more for the most part, so I didn't really have the support for Tetsuko. The Coldwater Snapper was just too high up the mana curve for what I'm trying to do. It's nice that it does have hexproof, and it might be something I would reconsider after playing a game or two and seeing. But after that, it's just kind of chaff in there. Again, the Daring Archaeologist, I just didn't have the card support for this, and I'm not really trying to play this kind of a deck, so I took that out. And the same thing with the Excavation Elephant. And then the rest of white is really just some mediocre filler. So Tragic Poet does nothing for me. I have no enchantments in the deck. Well, I do have the Time of Ice in the deck. Oh, that's interesting. We'll see. I think I'm okay leaving it out. Sanctum Spirit's mediocre, and I've just got a couple of other mediocre cards. So that's what I did not put in the deck. So I think overall, I would enjoy playing with this deck in a sealed environment. I think the card pool itself actually was stronger than I originally gave it credit for, and I think this would be a fair build. Okay, well, as always, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, want to see more of this content, then thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.